Well, here we are again, Ron. And what do you want to reflect on today?
Well, all through the Bible,
Yeah,
it teaches that God's people
yeah,
are in his hands.
right.
Now, I wondered what that meant for me after my diagnosis.
I bet.
Having been brought up with the idea that God wants the best for me,
Mm-hmm.
indeed he wants the best for all his people,
Yeah.
I found that difficult, to say the least, to reconcile with the fact that I have incurable cancer. Is that really the best for me? So every night for the 8 weeks I was in hospital, and indeed every night since coming home,
Mm-hmm.
my last prayer before dropping off to sleep has been to say, Lord, I am in your hands. You know the end from the beginning. Grant me your peace.
So it's about trusting him.
Yes,
I see.
yes.
Okay.
Now, at the very least, that means that God has my back and that he will not let me down if I lean on him.
Oh, yeah.
He knows in great detail, very great detail, all that I'm going through, and he knows where it will all lead. Again, far better than I know myself. His hands are there to show his love for me, and his hands will not drop me. Now, I have the choice either to struggle against those hands or to relax into them. And I choose to relax.
So prayer is the key.
Absolutely is. Well, you know, you can say whatever you like to God in prayer.
You can.
Yes. And so I unload the negative as well as the positive. And I know also that other people are praying for me, and that gives tremendous support in what is, let's face it, David, a difficult time for me and for Joan and for the rest of the family.
So, okay, we're back to your diagnosis and what it's taught you.
Well, it certainly reinforced the lesson that I am not in charge and I am not in control. Now, most of the time, like most people, I guess, I would like to think that I'm in control. For example, it's certainly what's taught to your children and grandchildren in school, be the best version of yourself today.
Yeah.
Choose to be the best you can be. And there are, of course, aspects of our lives which we can control, like whether we're kind and compassionate to someone, or indeed how much time we spend on our various screens. But this diagnosis has brought home to me how little of my life, how few of the things that really matter are completely in my control. That's why I'm so glad that the one who is in control is full of love and compassion and who knows the end from the beginning. Compared to God, we human beings are at best partially sighted, or at worst, completely blind.
So I suspect that you've not always seen God's, best, or you're not seeing things God's way.
No, I haven't. I'll mention two particular times when I thought I knew best, and it turned out to be completely the opposite. I was a student reading French, and you have to do a year abroad, and you choose, or at least you have a form which you fill in, which allows you to choose where to go. So for my year in France, I decided I would love to spend the year near the Swiss border in a town called Grenoble. Who wouldn't? Well, it turned out, of course, that half the world had put down Grenoble as their first choice, mainly Australians, I have to say.
Oh, right.
But so I was sent to a town called Brest.
Oh, no.
Which is an Atlantic seaport. It is as far away from Grenoble as you can possibly be and still be in France. And it is a grim seaport. But I arrived in Brest and went, I was rather peeved.
I bet.
But I have to say, David, that year in Brest completely changed the direction of my life. Went to a church there. I preached my first sermons in French.
Whoa.
I heard God's call come to me in that church. I was encouraged by the pastor of that church. It was a remarkable year. And I came home from that year knowing that God's plan was for me to work full-time in the church.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah, it was. It was completely life-changing.
And so, it looked grim, it looked the wrong place, and you ended up...
But it was absolutely spot on.
Yeah. You said there were a couple of things.
Yeah.
What other great revelation have we got coming?
In my early years of ordination, Joan and I had only recently been married, and I was working in South East London, and my mother was in hospital, quite seriously ill actually, north of London, and so a couple of times a week I would drive round the North Circular Road, the A406, go through the Blackwall Tunnel, and then up round the North Circular Road in a clockwise direction. I remember looking out over to the right, over to what seemed to be the desolation of Barking and Dagenham, and I remember thinking, Lord, thank you that I don't work there. Well, subsequently, I spent 17 fruitful years in Dagenham. God knows best.
Thank you again, Ron.
Thanks, David.
For the way you just make this whole situation real and bring God right into the heart of it. A God who is in charge and knows best